In this video, you'll see how to install subfloors, specifically wood subfloors in a kitchen, but all the skills you're going to see are really applicable anywhere inside the home. So bathrooms, living rooms, etc. And we're going to have a ton of really cool tools that'll make this a lot easier. By the way, Great Stuff is sponsoring this video, so many thanks to them. They've got a ton of really great products, so make sure you check those out in the link below this video. Now that all of the old flooring is off of the joist, I'm going to clean the stud bays as well as the top of the floor joist. The one thing I did do is add blocking along the perimeter of the floor, and I had to work around things like the gas line and plumbing and so forth. But the reason why I did that is because I want to put screws every 6 inches, every 4 to 6 inches along the perimeter when we add our plywood subfloor. Before I put the subfloor panels down, I'm going to be using Great Stuff construction adhesive, and there are many reasons why. You can see how big this can is. Well, it's the equivalent of up to 16 tubes of adhesive, so you'll be able to use this one can for a lot of projects. The other cool thing is, if you keep this in the gun, it's good for up to 30 days. You can use this over top of wet, dry, or frozen lumber. So if the lumber is a little bit wet, it's not a big deal. And also this will reduce floor squeaks, and you can adjust the bead of the construction adhesive using the Pro 14 series gun, which I'm going to show you. This is the Pro 14 foam gun. The construction adhesive or spray foam screws to the top of it, and you can control the bead size with this little knob right here. This is great for smaller projects, but they also make an XL gun, which is perfect for floor joists. This is the XL gun, and as you can see, it has a longer tip to it. And what's nice about this is you can stand up and you can easily apply the foam on your floor joists without having to bend down. And that's great because if you're like me and you're getting old and you have back problems, this is the gun that you probably want for a subfloor application. The next step is to shake this can up for 60 seconds. You can do it like this, or you can do it on the gun. So now I'm just going to screw the can onto the adapter. Now the fun part, we're going to go ahead and test out the size of the bead. Right here is the flow control knob. You want to turn this back and forth while you're squeezing the trigger to figure out the size of the bead that you want. And I'm trying to get a 1/2 inch bead for these floor joists. Just going to go ahead and squeeze the trigger here. This is probably like a nice 3/4 inch bead. Let's go ahead and do another one. I'm going to turn back the flow control screw, so we'll do it again. This one's bigger, so let's go ahead and adjust that. And that's probably what I want right there. So something like that. So you can kind of play around with this and see what size you need. The other thing I recommend having is the Great Stuff foam cleaner. This is great for if you get some of the adhesive on your hands or anything else, because this will clean it off. And it comes with this little tiny nozzle that you can attach to the can. This nozzle goes on the can, so you can spray your hands like this, and this will clean off any of the uncured construction adhesive. So you have to do this fairly quickly, otherwise it will cure. But this is great to have because if you get it on the gun, you can clean the gun quickly. If you get it on your shoes, you can use this too. The other thing you may want to use is the guide tip. This attaches to the XL gun, and what this does is straddle the joist and help you create a consistent bead. When you add the guide to the tip of the gun, make sure you can see the tip beyond the guide. That's really important so that this doesn't get clogged. I'm going to apply my Great Stuff over top of my floor joists. You want to do this so that you add your panel within 10 minutes of the application. So let's go ahead and get it over here. This is a little bit tricky. So the biggest thing is to not step in it. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply my bead here. I actually drew lines on the floor joists, so I got to be a little bit careful here. And because I'm by myself today, I'm just going to go ahead and show you how I bond this panel to the floor joist when you're by yourself. I'm trying to lower this without it slamming down. Now that I have this down, I'm going to scooch it over. So we'll get it over to here, and then I'll spray along the perimeter. So I'm just going to walk on this to compress the subflooring in. So one thing I did ahead of time is I marked the location of my floor joist on the wall. And along the perimeter here, I'm just going to go ahead and mark out every 6 inches because I want to have a screw along the perimeter that is in fact every 6 inches per the American Plywood Association. In the field, we can go ahead and have a screw every 12 inches. So I'll just go ahead and come out every 12. So once again, every 6 inches along the perimeter. And then because we're gluing and screwing and this is tongue and groove, I don't have a blocker right here. I don't need one, but I need every 12 inches I need a screw in the field. Oh, and by the way, the joists are 16 inches on center. This is 3/4 inch thick plywood that's also tongue and groove. So this is super sturdy. And because this is in the field, we'll go every 12 inches. So now it's just a matter of continuing that screw schedule along the perimeter and in the field of the panel. So if you want to, you can create a reference mark with the mark that you make on the wall with the center of the joist here. You simply just draw a line and then you can add your screws. And it's every 12 inches, so 12, 24, 36, and 48. And so what I would recommend is standing on the panel as you're doing this because you're compressing that construction adhesive. I'm gonna go ahead and do this every 6 inches over here. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention, this floor is actually level. The floor joists are in good shape. They don't look in good shape, but they're, for 80 years old, doing pretty darn good. If the floor wasn't level, you could do a few things. You could raise them using 2x material, or you could just do a self-leveler in the spots that aren't level. The other thing I wanted to mention is the tongue side is on this side. The groove side is over here. That way when I put my sheet in over here, it's gonna slide right into the groove. All right, so over here we just have a little piece, and that piece is gonna end right here at 47 inches. So per the American Plywood Association, you want this seam to be 2 joist bays over at a minimum from the other seam, and we're well within that. Plus the other thing is I have my pipe coming up here for my plumbing and I just can't fit this panel in here. So I'm going to go ahead and apply my construction adhesive on all these joists. And by the way, if you haven't used this in a little bit, just shake it up, you know, again for like another 60 seconds. I do love this because I can go ahead and reach without having to kneel. The reason why I don't have the guide on is I want to show you what you can do if you have a panel that meets up with another joist. So I just put a bead right on the edge here. That's a little bit sloppy right there. It's only good. Yeah, and then when I put my second panel on, I'll go ahead and add another bead. Let's go ahead and carefully put this in there. And I don't want to just drop this because if I do, the adhesive is just going to go everywhere. I just need to beat this in there a little bit more, so I need to slide it underneath my door jamb, so I need to do that a little bit more. Then I can use my prybar to push this in a little bit more. Okay. I want anywhere from like a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch gap here in between the panels. So I don't need this to be like super tight. So now what I'm gonna do is just add a screw at the corners to get this screw down, and then I'll add my screws every 6 inches along the perimeter and then 12 inches inside the joist bay. Right here we have a shared joist. This is the last panel I installed. This is the next area where I'm going to install a panel. For a shared joist, what you can do is just go ahead and apply another bead of the construction adhesive. So we'll be good to go there. And then what I can do is I can go ahead and apply this on my blocker behind my plumbing. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and slide this in. So this is down in. What I need to do is just get the tongue into the groove here. You can keep this can on the gun. You just want to tighten the flow control knob completely. And what that'll do is seal the system, and it won't allow the construction adhesive to cure inside the gun. But if you're done and you know you're not going to be using this anymore, you can clean the gun. So the way to do that is to unscrew this. I'm done with this. I can set this aside, throw it away. Then you can screw the cleaner onto the gun. And then you can just force the cleaner through the nozzle in the gun. So once you see the cleaner come out like that, that's how you know you've cleaned the nozzle and the gun. Well, there you go. That's how you install subfloors, specifically wood subfloors. If you like the tips in this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. And if you've got a question, make sure you ask those in the comments. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.